Well, hey, welcome to the Rise podcast. I am grateful that you are jumping in, watching, listening, wherever you're at. I want to share with you something that's been making an impact every day in my life, and I think it can make an impact in yours. And here's what I want to speak to you about today. We're going to jump into the subject of prayer. Okay, now when I just said that, some of y'all, like 10% of y'all were like, let's go, favorite subject, this is going to be awesome. And everybody else is like, that's hard. I don't really do that except when life's really crazy. And then I pray a little bit and then just throw up a prayer for 5 seconds and ask God to help me not fail this math test or not bomb this meeting or do whatever. But let's just be real. Prayer it's not the easiest part of a spiritual life. Okay. But I want to share with you one tip, trick, tool, hack that has made a difference in my life. And I think it can make a difference in yours. And so my title is, you need a prayer list. You need a prayer list. What's a prayer list, Brandon? A prayer list is a list. It can be physical, if you're a physical paper writer person. It can be digital. I use an app called Echo, E-C-H-O, little green app with a little white arrow. It is a list of things you are praying for. It can be things that are very tactical, measurable, tangible. Like we wrote out a prayer of exactly what we were believing God for the house that we would rent in Austin. And guess what? Every single one was met or exceeded. Okay. So it's helpful to have ones that are very tactical. Like there's a time that a certain thing either will or will not happen. And so you write that down, but also things like God, grow my patience, and writing that into your prayer list. So maybe the longer term things you're trying to grow about yourself. Here's what I would say. If you're praying about something, you should put it on your prayer list. I'll tell you a couple reasons why. Number one, have you ever thought to yourself, okay, I know I should pray. I know I want to pray. I went to church on Sunday, or I watched a video of a sermon from another pastor and they talked about prayer. And so I know I should pray. But what the heck do I pray for? Okay. Number one is a prayer list will guide your prayer time. It'll answer the question, what do I pray about? So if you make a prayer list, you will have an organized thing you can go through every single time you pray. And I have a lot of things on my prayer list, and sometimes I pray through them in a long time, 20, 30, 40 minutes. Sometimes I pray through every single thing in about 2 minutes, and I just pray very, very briefly about each thing. The point of a prayer list isn't to make your time of prayer super long, even though I think we could all probably use a little less time scrolling and a little bit more time in God's presence, talking to him and hearing from him. But it guides your prayer time for that reason, because prayer time should not just be request. Can you do this? Can you make this happen? Can you change this? I think prayer should always start with, God, thank you for who you are. God, I love you. God, thank you for what you've done in my life. God, you are beautiful and amazing, and you're everything to me and more. I mean, let's put into our prayer list. I would challenge you, put into your prayer list. You don't even have to write all the things out, but I would literally put on my prayer list, like thanksgiving to God, or like praising God. Cause I think there's something about starting off with thanksgiving and with prayer that sets the tone for your time in God's presence. Admittedly, by the way, this is an episode a little bit more geared towards, man, if you already follow Jesus, you consider yourself a Christian, I do believe this will level up your life. Here's the second thing that a prayer list is going to do. A prayer list is going to make sure that you don't miss a miracle. How many things do you think you've prayed for that God has answered that you never really said thanks for because you forgot you prayed about it? Or how many things did you pray for that God answered that you did thank him for in the moment, but now it's been a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years? And if you had remembered that event would actually be fuel to your faith today. But because you don't remember that thing, it's not actually adding value to your current faith to believe for what you need to believe for in this moment. What I'm trying to tell you is many of the things that God has done in our past that were meant to be faith, to fuel to our faith now, I'm going to just say it again because I messed it up double time. Many of the things that God has done for us in our past that was meant to fuel our faith today, we are missing out on that fuel, that encouragement, because we simply don't remember what he's done. So on my prayer list in my Echo app, I don't really X things off. I'll make it to where, and I would encourage you to do this, even if you're going to write stuff down and cross it out where you can still read that thing, because there is nothing more encouraging than looking back and saying, oh my gosh, Yes, this thing I'm fighting right now is scary. Yes, this health diagnosis. Yes, this financial situation. Yes, this thing with one of my kids. Yes, this thing at work is big and it's challenging. And I don't know how it's all going to work out. But a prayer list, if you choose to let it be not only present, but past, it really just reminds you, oh my gosh, God's been so faithful. So when I scroll through the part about our house that we were believing for when we lived in Georgia, and now we're living in the middle of what we prayed for, well, don't get me wrong, there's still 30 other things that I'm praying about. But every time I see the house one, I don't sit on the house prayer and pray about it for 10 more minutes. I mean, God's already answered the prayer. What I do is, as I see it and swipe past it, I think to myself, oh my gosh, the same God that I'm believing is going to do this and change this and make this happen is the God who is trustworthy because he's already done this one. So it guides your prayer time. It gives you structure and it builds your faith. Build your faith by reminding you of all the things God has done. So, and the third one I would say is, and this is, it's kind of related to the first one, but it allows you to have integrity when you tell people you're going to pray for them. How many times, and this is maybe a little too niche, but how many times have you told someone, I'm going to pray for you, and you truly mean it? You know, you're not just saying it, you mean it, but then you don't. And now you accidentally kind of lied that you were going to pray for that person. That stinks. So here's a great way to fix that. Someone tells you something, you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to pray for them. And you tell them, oh, I'm going to pray for you. Well, then you walk away 2 minutes later, you pull out your prayer list on your phone, or you pull out your prayer list. Maybe you text it to yourself if you're a write it down person, so you can write it down later when you get home. And you now have that person's thing that you want to be praying about. So it gives you integrity to actually pray for people when you say you're going to pray for them. So prayer list. If you would raise your hand, and I'm going to raise both hands and say, you know what? I want my prayer life to grow. I want it to get better. I want it to get deeper. This is not the only way, but I'm telling you what, it's going to make a difference in your life. If you've never done it, try it. It's going to feel a little bit different than just throwing up a couple prayers and a couple arrow prayers. That I like that idea of, like, you just release the arrow like a bow and arrow, just a quick little 1 second thing when you need it. And by the way, those prayers are great too. You should totally do that. But I think there's something about having a disciplined, structured time in God's presence to say, hey, God, I'm choosing, because what Jesus purchased on the cross is access to God, which we experience not exclusively, but in a major way in prayer. So let's take full advantage. Let's get in his presence. Let's bring him our needs. Let's bring him our requests. Let's bring him our stuff. But then when he answers it, let's make sure we remember it. That's going to add so much fuel to your faith. So prayer list, download the app Echo. I'm not sponsored. There's no affiliate code. Type Brendan Garland 10 and you'll get 10%. No, it's a free app and I don't get nothing for it, but it's going to bless your life. Or you can do it on paper if you're like my wife and you're more analog, and it's probably better for you in some way. You know, they tell you if you take notes, it's better for you, for your brain. I don't know. But I'm telling you, it's going to make a difference. So you need a prayer list, get one, and let me know how it goes. Peace.